Welcome to the Daily Stoic Dose. Before starting this video, make sure please subscribe, like and share this video to reach out most authentic Stoic content. Need support? Thanks. The hidden truth about attraction. Let me tell you something most men never hear. Attraction isn't a game of chance, it's not luck. It's not destiny, and it's definitely not something only the chosen few are born with. It's power, a silent, psychological force that bends reality in your favor, if you know how to wield it. You see, when a woman looks at you, she's not just seeing a face or a body, she's scanning, subconsciously, for something deeper, something most men never develop: emotional gravity. That's the invisible pull that draws her closer without a single word spoken. And here's the brutal truth: even if she shows zero interest right now, you can still ignite that pull, because attraction isn't what she decides, it's what she feels, and feelings don't respond to logic, they respond to energy. The beginning of attraction is always silent. Let's start from the beginning. When a woman meets you, she's not thinking, "Is he handsome?" She's thinking, "What do I feel in his presence?" That moment, those few seconds, determine everything. Her subconscious reads your tone, your eye contact, your stillness. It studies your micro-reactions, how you breathe when she looks at you, how quickly you try to please her, how comfortable you are in silence. And from that, her mind makes a decision, not about whether you're her type, but whether she feels safe submitting her feminine energy to you. That's the secret. It's not about being charming, it's about being grounded enough that her chaos feels calm around you. Why most men never trigger attraction? Most men destroy attraction before it ever begins. Not because they're unattractive, but because they reek of need. They talk too much, they explain themselves. They seek approval with their eyes, with their tone, with their constant smiles, and subconsciously, the woman's mind registers one thing: he's beneath me emotionally. It doesn't matter how successful or good-looking you are, if your presence seeks her validation, her biology will reject you. She'll feel nothing, because deep down, women are drawn to emotional certainty. When she looks at a man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't over-explain, who speaks little but with intention, she feels something ancient awaken. It's the sense of being near a man who doesn't need her to feel complete. That's what every woman craves but can't describe. That's why she'll chase the one who barely texts back but lose interest in the one who pours his heart out. It's not arrogance that attracts her, it's emotional independence. You don't need her interest to create it. Listen carefully. Most guys wait for a signal, a glance, a laugh, a text. They wait for her to like them first. But attraction doesn't work that way. It's not a reaction, it's a projection. You don't wait for it, you create it. A woman's desire mirrors your emotional state. If you move like a man who doesn't chase, she feels the instinct to chase. If you look at her like she's replaceable, she starts to imagine what it would take to earn your attention. This isn't manipulation, it's psychology. The mind always values what's scarce, and a man grounded in his own worth will always feel scarce in her world. That's why she gets addicted to emotionally unavailable men. Not because they're cold, but because their detachment signals value. The law of emotional scarcity. Every man should understand this. A woman doesn't fall in love with your kindness, she falls in love with the moments she fears losing your presence. When your attention becomes a reward, not a default, that's when she starts to crave it. When your silence means something, she starts to overthink. When your presence calms her, she starts to tee. This is emotional control, not by dominance, but by discipline. Most men give away their power because they want to prove they're different. But the truth is, you can't prove your worth, you must embody it. Attraction grows in mystery, and mystery only exists when you are not desperate to be understood. Why she tests you. Ever noticed how women test men? They say something slightly disrespectful, they go cold for no reason, they push your buttons, just to see how you react. Most men take it personally, they get emotional, defensive, start explaining themselves. But they don't realize, she's not attacking you. She's measuring you. Every test is her subconscious asking, can he handle my emotions without losing himself? If your mood shifts based on her attention, she loses respect. If you stay calm, detached, and unbothered, she feels an emotional contrast that her body can't ignore, because in that moment, you've shown her something deeper than charm, you've shown her masculine stability. The truth about eye contact. Eye contact is the most primal form of communication between a man and a woman. It's not about staring, it's about intention. When you look into her eyes without blinking, without looking away nervously, without rushing to speak, you create a psychological frame. It says, I see you, but I'm not chasing you. It's calm, grounded, confident. That kind of gaze triggers attraction because it forces her to confront her own femininity. She'll look away not because she's disinterested, but because she feels seen, and being seen by a man who doesn't seek approval is one of the most powerful sensations a woman can experience. Stillness, the forgotten language of power. There's something magnetic about a man who moves slowly, who doesn't rush his words, doesn't fidget, doesn't fill every silence. Stillness is confidence in motion. Most men rush because they fear losing her attention. But a man who's truly confident moves as if time bends around him. He speaks slowly, because his words have weight. He walks calmly, because nothing external can hurry him. That energy doesn't just attract, it dominates without effort. It tells her subconscious, I'm in control, not of you, but of myself. And when a man controls himself, a woman instinctively feels drawn to him. The shadow of masculine energy. True masculine energy is not loud, it's quiet, centered, almost dangerous in its stillness. It doesn't need to convince or prove, it simply is. And when a woman senses that in you, it triggers both fear and fascination. Fear, because she can't predict you. Fascination, because she can't control you. That's the emotional polarity that fuels attraction, the dance between feminine curiosity and masculine mystery. She may not understand why she keeps thinking about you, but it's because your energy left an imprint, a psychological signature that her mind replays long after you've gone silent. Stop seeking her approval, start commanding her respect. Here's something every man must learn early: approval is cheap. Respect is rare. A woman might smile at a man she doesn't respect, she might flirt with him, but she will never desire him. Desire is born from tension, not comfort, from respect, not agreement. When you stop trying to please her, she feels that tension. When you disagree with confidence and calm tone, her subconscious marks you as different, and that difference creates emotional value. You see, attraction is a byproduct of your emotional hierarchy. When your self-worth doesn't fluctuate based on her reactions, you automatically rise above the crowd of men who live for female validation, becoming the source of emotion, not the reactor. Here's where everything changes. Most men react to women's emotions. They adjust their tone when she's upset. They chase harder when she pulls away. But the high-value man doesn't react. He creates the emotional rhythm, he speaks with intention, he decides the pace, he sets the tone of the interaction, and she follows, not because he commands her, but because she feels emotionally safe in his presence. That's what true masculine leadership looks like. Calm power that doesn't demand submission, it naturally earns it. End of part 1. In the next part, we'll go even deeper into how to sustain attraction after it's triggered, how to communicate with energy, not words, how to turn silence into seduction, and how to make a woman feel your absence more than she ever felt another man's presence. But before that, remember this truth. You don't chase attraction, you become it. When your energy shifts, everything around you does too. Part 2, the psychology of unspoken desire. There's a reason silence feels heavier when it comes from a man she secretly desires. It isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of power, because when a man knows how to control silence, he controls emotion, and emotion controls attraction. When you stop chasing, she starts feeling. At first, she doesn't notice your absence, she assumes you'll text again, that you'll reach out like before, but days pass, the pattern breaks, and suddenly, she begins to feel something she didn't when you were always available: curiosity. That curiosity turns to irritation, then to longing, then to confusion, because the female mind isn't wired to handle emotional uncertainty. She feels safest when she's in control, when she knows how you feel, what you'll do next. But when your silence replaces her certainty, her emotions start fighting each other, and that's when attraction begins to deepen, not when you talk more, but when you do less. Why she misses the man who says less. Most men believe attention equals affection, but women crave the opposite: emotional contrast. When you were always available, she never had space to feel your presence. Now that you're silent, your energy fills that empty space, her mind replays your tone, your words, your calmness, she starts to imagine what you're doing, who you're with, and in that quiet imagination, you become larger than life. That's why silence works better than any text, because imagination builds emotional weight, and emotional weight builds attraction. You don't have to disappear forever, just long enough for her to realize what your presence actually meant. The psychology of emotional tension. Every woman desires one thing more than affection, emotional tension. It's that unpredictable current that keeps her mind engaged and her emotions awake. Too much attention kills that tension, too much distance kills connection. The art lies in balance: push, then pause, engage, then detach, speak, then go quiet. When you control rhythm, you control emotion, and a woman who feels emotional rhythm with you can't replace you, because it's not logic keeping her interested, it's emotional addiction, her hidden obsession with the Stoic man. There's something hauntingly attractive about a man who feels deeply, but rarely shows it, a man who listens more than he speaks, who looks at her like he could have her, but chooses restraint. That quiet discipline confuses her, it challenges her ego, it forces her to earn what other men give away freely: emotional access. And in trying to earn it, she invests emotionally. The more she invests, the more she values you. That's the unspoken rule of attraction. People value what they must work to keep. Emotional leadership, the hidden key. Masculine leadership isn't about control, it's about direction. When you remain grounded while she's emotional, you give her subconscious what it truly craves: stability. Not the stability of routine, but the stability of a man who doesn't crumble under pressure. When she cries, you don't panic. When she tests you, you don't overreact. When she pulls away, you don't chase. That calm certainty makes her feel safe, and safety is the root of desire, because a woman cannot surrender to a man she doesn't trust, and she cannot trust a man who doesn't trust himself. The moment she realizes she's attached, it happens quietly. Maybe she's out with friends, scrolling her phone, pretending she doesn't care, then someone mentions your name, and her chest tightens. That's when she realizes the truth: your absence isn't empty, it's felt. You didn't win her through attention, you won her through restraint, through emotional discipline, through the rare power of being the one who didn't need her validation to stay composed. That's the kind of energy that keeps women haunted, even months later, because it's not just attraction anymore. It's emotional imprinting. Why emotional control equals dominance. Control isn't about power over her, it's power over yourself in front of her. When she yells, you breathe. When she pulls back, you let her. When she tries to provoke you, you smile, not mockingly, but knowingly. That's psychological dominance. It shows her she cannot manipulate your peace, and that's the exact moment she feels safe enough to open up again. Because women don't truly crave drama, they crave the emotional gravity of a man who remains unmoved, the subtle art of reattraction. Let me reveal something few men ever learn: you can reignite attraction long after it fades, not through words, but through energy shifts. When she sees you again after your silence, don't seek her reaction, be calm, neutral, focused on your purpose. Let her feel that you've changed, not for her, but for yourself. Your body language should say, I've outgrown the need to prove myself. Your tone should say, I'm at peace, whether you return or not. That's what makes her question her own decision. Because suddenly, you're no longer the man she left, you're the man she underestimated. How to build emotional gravity: speak less, feel more, let your tone carry meaning that words never could, hold your frame in chaos. When she's emotional, your calm becomes magnetic, detach from outcome. Attraction collapses when you need a result, value time over attention. When your energy is scarce, your presence becomes priceless. Stay unpredictable. Predictability breeds comfort, and comfort kills chemistry. Be mission-driven. When your purpose comes first, women sense your inner hierarchy, and naturally fall into alignment, turning detachment into desire. There's a fine line between coldness and detachment. Coldness pushes her away, detachment draws her in, because it feels like mystery, not rejection. When she doesn't know if she can fully have you, she stays emotionally alert, and that alertness keeps her attraction alive. It's like fire: too much oxygen, it burns out; too little, it dies, but just enough, and it keeps glowing. Your detachment is that perfect balance, not too much to seem heartless, not too little to seem needy. just enough to keep her emotions alive. The unseen power of masculine mystery. Mystery isn't pretending, it's authenticity without exposure. You don't need to tell her every thought, you don't need to justify your silence. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Let her chase meaning in your calm, because the moment she thinks she has you figured out, her emotions begin to fade, but the moment she feels like there's more to discover, she becomes emotionally invested again. A man who reveals everything loses intrigue, a man who reveals selectively becomes unforgettable. Emotional control versus emotional repression. Understand this difference. Control is awareness, feeling emotions fully but choosing your response. Repression is avoidance, burying emotions until they explode. Women can sense both. They'll respect the man who controls his emotions, they'll pity the one who represses them. True masculine power is not about never feeling, it's about never being owned by what you feel. When you master that, every woman around you senses it. Your calm presence becomes intoxicating because it represents what most people lack, inner peace. When you become the emotion she craves, there's a stage in every connection where she stops chasing words and starts craving energy. She stops needing validation and starts needing your presence. That's when you become more than a man, you become an experience. She can't explain why she feels calm around you, or why she can't stop thinking about you when you're gone. Because attraction is no longer physical, it's spiritual resonance. You've aligned her emotions with your energy, and once that happens, no message, no distance, no other man can erase that imprint. The Stoic truth about love and desire. Here's the truth most will never accept: you can love a woman deeply, and still stay detached. Because detachment doesn't mean indifference, it means clarity. It means you see her as she is, not as your emotions want her to be. You enjoy her presence, but you don't depend on it. You appreciate her affection, but you don't seek it for validation. That's how Stoic men love, with depth, not desperation, with openness, not obsession, with strength, not need, and ironically, that's the kind of love women respect the most. Final truth: you are the frame. In every interaction, there's a frame, a psychological boundary that defines who leads and who follows. When you chase, you step into her frame. When you stay centered, she steps into yours. Your energy sets the tone, your silence defines value, your detachment shapes her emotions. That's the essence of masculine attraction. You don't force, you don't chase, you become, because the man who doesn't need attention commands it, the man who doesn't seek love attracts it, and the man who knows his worth never has to prove it. Ending message: remember this, brother, attraction isn't a spark, it's a current. It flows toward power, toward stillness, toward emotional certainty. Be that current, don't chase her energy, master yours. Because once you do, you won't need to attract women, they'll feel you, long before you ever say a word. At the end, please subscribe my channel and share to others. Thanks for watching this video.